The Dominion fleet had conquered 247 worlds without significant resistance. The Xyloran Empire, led by Supreme Commander Zexthor, had never encountered a species capable of meaningful opposition. Earth had fallen within hours. Their so-called militaries were primitive by galactic standards, their weapons obsolete, their defenses laughable. The invasion was meant to be a formality, a bureaucratic exercise in adding another resource world to the Dominion's ever-expanding catalogue. But something unexpected happened on the third day of occupation. The resistance didn't end. In fact, it intensified. Commander Zexthor stood in the ruins of what humans called New York City, surrounded by his elite guard. The Xyloran were physically impressive, 7 feet tall with chitinous armor that could withstand plasma fire. Their military technology was generations ahead of anything Earth possessed. Yet somehow, human fighters continued to strike from the shadows, inflicting casualties that made even the hardened Xyloran commanders uncomfortable. That's when she emerged from the smoke. Captain Elena Vasquez moved through the devastated streets like a ghost, her tactical gear scarred from 100 close-call encounters. She was barely 5 feet 8 inches tall, her frame compact and efficient. Where the Xyloran saw an insect, Elena saw an opponent with a specific anatomy, specific weaknesses, specific vulnerabilities that could be exploited. She had spent 3 days studying their movements. She had learned their patterns. She had mapped the gaps in their armor where the chitinous plates overlapped, where flexible membrane lay exposed beneath their carapace. And she had trained for every possible scenario imaginable. Elena Vasquez, Zexthor announced, his voice booming through a translation device. Surrender yourself, and we will execute your people quickly. Resist, and we will make your extinction agonizing. Elena smiled. It was the smile of someone who had nothing left to lose. I'm not here to negotiate, she said, her voice steady. I'm here to teach you what you should have learned before you invaded my world. She moved before Zexthor could respond, her body becoming a blur of purposeful motion. Elena attacked not with the frontal assault of a weaker opponent, but with the precision of a surgeon. Her first strike came at the junction of his upper left armor plate, the exact weak point she had identified through observation. The impact made Zexthor stumble. His elite guard rushed forward, their weapons raised, but Elena was already flowing into her next movement. She ducked beneath a plasma bolt, rolled forward beneath the commander's reaching appendages, and struck him again, this time at his right leg joint. The precision was extraordinary. She wasn't fighting the strongest Xyloran, she was fighting the anatomy of the Xyloran species itself. Strike after strike landed with devastating accuracy. Each blow targeted a weakness, exploited a vulnerability, exposed the gaps in their technology. Elena moved with the fluidity of someone who had fought against impossible odds her entire life, because on Earth, she had. Humanity had evolved on a world filled with predators. They had survived ice ages and meteor impacts. They had learned to hunt creatures 10 times their size through cunning, coordination, and relentless determination. Elena was simply applying those ancient skills against a new predator. Within minutes, Zexthor was on his knees. His elite guard stood frozen, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. Their commander, a warrior who had conquered 247 worlds, was being systematically dismantled by a single human woman who was a fraction of his size and strength. Elena stopped her assault and stood before him, breathing heavily but controlled. You made a critical error, she said, her voice carrying the weight of her species' suffering. You assumed that because we were weaker, we would surrender. You didn't understand that humans don't measure strength the way you do. We measure it by how many times we can get knocked down and still find the will to stand up. We measure it by how much pain we can endure and still keep fighting. We measure it by our refusal to accept that anything is impossible. She extended her hand to help Zexthor to his feet, a gesture of respect that transcended species boundaries. Leave Earth, Elena commanded. Tell your empire what you've learned here. Tell them that occupying a world of humans means occupying a world of warriors who refuse to surrender. Tell them that our greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology, it's our will to survive against any odds. Xthor, humiliated but alive, accepted her offered hand. As his forces began their retreat from Earth's atmosphere, the message echoed across the Dominion fleet and beyond: humanity was not prey. They were apex predators wearing the skin of the vulnerable. Over the following weeks, the Xyloran withdrawal accelerated. But the true significance of Earth's victory wasn't military, it was psychological. Throughout the galaxy, species that had never dared resist the Dominion now began to organize, to hope, to fight back. All because one human woman had reminded the universe what it meant to be human. In the ruins of New York City, Elena stood watching the alien ships disappear into the stars. Behind her, thousands of human fighters emerged from the shadows, ready to rebuild their world and remind the galaxy that conquering Earth had indeed been a very big mistake. Kindly like and subscribe channel. Thank you.